I am so excited to start the beginning of a new series, The Body Does Not Lie. This is Bernadette with Bern's Bench, where we help women over 40 fix the burnout and overwhelm and craft the life they desire and because they're ready to lead differently. We are going to talk about why you hurt in places that never hurt before. You reached for your seatbelt this morning and your shoulder caught. Not an injury, just a catch. A little hitch that wasn't there 2 years ago. And you got out of the car and your knees announced it, and it felt a little awkward and you felt a little twitch. You started standing up from a chair in stages. You put your hand on the counter without deciding to. Somewhere in the last 18 months, you began negotiating with your own body about stairs. You never once had a conversation about it out loud. Nothing happened to you. That's the part that kind of makes it feel crazy. There was no fall, no accident, no moment you could point to and say, that's when it started. But deep down, you know you're making little sacrifices. So you did what you always do. You decided it was age. You moved on with your day. Here's what I want you to hear before anything else. You did not let yourself go. Something left. And nobody sent you the email or the memo. The word this week is old. That's the word you've been using. Say it out loud and listen to yourself. I guess I'm just getting old. You've said it about your knees. You've said it about your shoulder. You said it about the fact that you can't sit on the floor with your grandkids and get back up without a plan. I want that word off the table for the next 17 minutes or so that we have together on this video. Because here's what's actually true. Your joints did not get old. Your joints got unstaffed. Read that again. Think about what I just said. There's a difference between a building that is falling apart and a building that's lost its maintenance crew. One of those is a decline. The other one is a staffing problem, and the staffing problems have solutions. I work with these women over 40 all the time who are tired of feeling burned out and overwhelmed and are ready to lead differently. And I will tell you what I tell every one of them in the first session. The story you're telling yourself about your body is doing more damage than the thing you're complaining about. Our words are prayers. This is the one segment people come for. They really want to understand why things have shifted. 2 minutes, that is all it takes. You had a hormone called estrogen. You knew about estrogen. You knew about it because your periods and pregnancy and hot flashes. That's the job you were told that estrogen was for. Estrogen really has a second job that nobody told you about. She was the superintendent of the building, not the owner, not the tenant, not the super, the one with the keys and the toolkit who nobody thinks about until she's gone. Here's what she did on the night shift every night for 30 years for free. She kept the joints oiled. Estrogen keeps inflammation down inside the joint. When she's in the building, your knee is in a quiet room. She patched the bones. Every day of your life, your body tears down a little bone and builds a little back. Estrogen was standing between the teardown crew and the wall, slowing them down. She ran the overnight repairs on your muscle. The work you did at the gym at 40 didn't build anything at the gym. It built it later while you slept, and she supervised. Then she left. She didn't leave in one day. She left the way a good employee leaves. She started missing shifts. Some months she was there, some months she wasn't. That's the part your doctor calls perimenopause. And then one day she was gone. Nobody handed you a letter that said, "Your maintenance crew has been let go. Please make other arrangements. You just started hurting and you decided it was your fault." There is a name for this. The name is the musculoskeletal syndrome of menopause. That's the last time I'm going to say it in plain English. It means when she left, 4 things broke at the same time, and every doctor looked at one of them. The sore knees, the shoulder that stopped rotating, the muscle that got soft even though you never stopped moving, the bone density you didn't know was going anywhere. 4 appointments, 4 specialists, 4 shrugs, and in the meantime, you're frustrated because you're not getting answers. 1 departure. So here's the thing that we're going to shift is the understanding of what's really going on. Why this matters more than it sounds. I need you to sit with that reframe, what that reframe actually does. Right now you have a list. The knee thing, the shoulder thing, the getting soft thing, and in the back of your mind quietly about the bone thing, the fear of the bone loss because you've watched what happened to your mother. 4 problems feel like a life falling apart. It feels like decline. It feels like the beginning of the part you don't want to talk about. 1 problem is a Tuesday. You do not have 4 failures. You have 1 departure showing up in 4 rooms. And here's the piece that should make you sit up, right? Half the women who get the image for this come back with nothing on the scan. Nothing torn, nothing bulging, nothing to operate on. Okay? You know what most women hear when the scan is clean? Everything looks fine. You're doing great. And yet you feel defeated. And you drive home hurting with a clean scan and a new problem, which is that now you think you're imagining it all. Like, what? You're not imagining it. A clean scan means the structure is intact. It does not mean the environment is intact. Your knee is not broken. Your knee is running in a building with no superintendent. Okay? So, 3 things. That's it. And the first one is going to sound wrong. 1, load it. Do not rest it. Every instinct you have says protect the joint, sit it out, wait till it settles. That instinct was correct when you were 32 and something was torn. It is wrong now. And I really pause because I really want you to hear my words. A joint that isn't torn gets healthier under load. Cartilage doesn't have its own blood supply. It gets fed by being compressed and released. Pressed, let it go. Pressed, let it go. Like a sponge in water. When you protect a joint that isn't injured, you starve it. So when your knees are stiff, the answer is a walk, not a couch. When your shoulder catches, the answer is moving it through its range every single day, gently, on purpose, not waiting for it to feel ready. You've heard the term motion is lotion, right? Motion is the oil now. She's not coming back to do it for you. So number 2, lift twice a week. Start with nothing in your hands. I know I've been the woman who's resisted this for 3 decades. We'll get to it. Twice a week, 2 sessions. And I want you to start with your own body weight, because I would rather you do 6 weeks of sit stands from a kitchen chair than buy a set of dumbbells that live in your closet as a moment of, having good intentions. Okay. So sit down in a chair, stand up, do it 10 times. That is a squat. And you've been doing it your whole life without calling it exercise. Push against a wall. That's a push-up. Then you can push against a chair. Then you can push against a floor. Pick up the groceries without kneeling and, swiveling like you're diffusing something. That's a deadlift. Okay. Muscle is the only thing you can build that also protects the bone underneath it and the joint above it. It is the one intervention that pays into all 3 accounts at once. Number 3, 30 seconds on one leg while you brush your teeth. That is one, one you'll skip, but don't. You'll forget. It takes some practice to get into the habit. Balance is not a party trick. Balance is the difference between a stumble and a fracture. And a fracture in your 70s is the event that changes everything after that. You already stand at the sink twice a day. Right leg in the morning, left leg at night. Hold the counter at first. Stop holding the counter when you can. You start in little baby steps. That's the whole program. You will do it for free in a place you already stand, at a time you already stand there. So you're not adding anything to your schedule. I'm not asking you to do more. I'm just asking you to be more intentional. So write it down, make a post-it note, like do anything you can. Okay. If you do nothing else this week, and I mean nothing, do this. Stand on one leg while you brush your teeth. The other 2 are the program. This one is the appointment you can't miss. 60 seconds a day, split in half, in a room you already go to. Everything else in this episode is optional this week. That one is not. I just really think about how I watch so many women make these changes. I want to tell you where I was standing when I found out. I was at the bottom of my own staircase at one time, living in a house. I'd never live in a 2-story house again for many reasons, but at the time I was running a business that most people would have looked at and called successful. 25 years or so in the field, clients who got results, a calendar that was full, 9 weeks out. I was the person other people called when they were falling apart. And I was standing at the bottom of my stairs at my own house in the middle of a regular afternoon doing math. Not thinking math. I was calculating whether I could get up and those stairs and back down again without needing to sit at the top. Not because I didn't have the cardiovascular stamina, but my hips hurt. My knees hurt. I had plantar fasciitis. I mean, it was all the stuff. I had taught fitness for a living, and I want you to hear that. I had put other people's bodies through more than that staircase professionally for decades. And I was standing at the bottom of those stairs building a strategy. Here's what I did about it. Nothing. And I'm pausing because I really want that to sink in. I did not learn this gracefully. I stood at the bottom of that own staircase and told myself I was tired. I told myself it was a busy season. I told myself I had been on my feet all day. I told myself the thing every one of you has told yourself in the same version in the last month. And then I went up the stairs and I did not tell a single human being that it had happened, that I was exhausted, that I was sore, that everything ached. That's the part I'm actually ashamed of, not the stairs, the silence. Because I was a woman who explained bodies for a living, and I could not say out loud that mine had started sending me a signal I did not want to read. And I couldn't quite figure out what was going on because nobody had explained to me what I just explained to you. That afternoon was the first of the 5 signals. I ignored all 5. It cost me more than I'm going to tell you today. I had a client come to me last year, an executive, runs a company, sharp, the kind of sharp where you can watch her decide whether in real time that she's, things are happening. She's running a successful business. She had 4 appointments booked with 4 different people about 4 different body parts. She had a shoulder guy. She had a knee person. She had a physical therapist. And, she had a standing intern monologue about how she was failing and how she was falling apart. We spent one session on what I just spent 2 minutes with you on. And everything shifted. She sat there and she said, nobody ever explained it to me in that way. She didn't have 4 problems. She had 1. And she'd been paying 4 people to look at it from 4 different angles. 90 days later, she was lifting twice a week, standing on one leg in her bathroom, sink like a flamingo, and she canceled 2 of the 4 appointments. That's the Burns Bench 90-day method. 90 days is not a marketing number. It's roughly how long it takes for a body to answer you when you finally start speaking its own language. So I'm going to put the link to the 90-day method in the details. And next week on Burns Bench, we are going to be talking about that signal number 1. There are 5 here in this series, and here's what I told you at the top. Your body has been sending you the same message 5 different ways, and you have been treating it as 5 separate failures. Next week is signal number 1. And it's the one that shows up in your closet. Same number on the scale, different body, nothing was added to the room, the furniture moved, and I'm going to show you who moved it. And I'll tell you what happened after the stairs, because what I did next made it worse, and I did it for a year. So we're going to talk about that next week. So subscribe to the channel to make sure that it finds you. Click the notification button. And as always, comment how this helped you, what you're looking for answers to. And as always, I will see you on the bench.